Hello and welcome back to 4FS Gaming. A while ago I made a sidearm review, and now with 1.0 out on the servers, I think it's time to take a look at the rifles in Hunt Showdown. Now, some of the feedback from you guys was that I should go into a little bit of more detail with the capabilities of each weapon, include some damage numbers, ranges and that kind of thing. Because of this, I am splitting the rifle reviews into two parts. In this video, we will be looking at the Tier 1 rifles, which are not to be overlooked as some of them remain extremely powerful, and in the next video, we're going to be looking at the Tier 2 and 3 rifles. So that means in this video, we're going to be looking at the Winfield 1873C and its variants, the Vetterli 71 Karabiner, or Karabiner, and its variants, and the 3 Deadly Sparks LRR variants. The timestamps are in the description if you have a particular interest, so let's get stuck in. The Winfield 1873C, or the Winnie C, is the starter weapon. It's unlocked from Blood Rank 1, and this 8-round repeating rifle is likely the gun you used most when you first started playing. But is it actually any good? Well, in addition to the 8 rounds in the magazine and the chamber, you can carry 28 shots in reserve, which is a lot of ammo for spamming. The Winnie deals up to 85 chest damage at close range, allowing you to 2-tap people pretty reliably as long as you are hitting in these areas. It has the highest rate of fire for all rifles as long as you don't count the Aftermath or the Nagant Officer Carbine, and it has a respectable muzzle velocity of 400 meters per second. Now this is on the lower end of velocity, but it's still much higher than most pistols. Where the Winnie C really starts to fall apart is its range, as it will only confirm headshots on full HP hunters up to 67 meters. To make up for that lower damage, range, limb damage, and bullet penetration, the Winnie is only $61. But is it really worth using? Or is this starter weapon better replaced with something else as soon as you have the opportunity? Let's have a look.
Got a hit. Got. Pick up the landing, throw it over. Burn out.
The thing is, the Winnie C is really a headshot machine. Plentiful ammo and high rate of fire allows you to spam it a fair bit, fishing for those headshots. Firing a lot greatly increases your chances of getting a lucky hit, so I recommend using this weapon when you first start to practice your aim because it is very forgiving. Don't be afraid to take every shot, as long as your foe isn't way too far in the distance. The Winnie will also be reliable against bosses due to that plentiful ammo, and overall it makes for a versatile close to mid-range weapon. At longer distances it will be outclassed by the larger rifles, and it is clearly just a worse version of the 16-shot Winfield that you unlock in Tier 2, but there are some minor variations in handling, recoil and sway between this Winfield and the later Winfields, but realistically they're too small to make any difference. So don't overlook the Winfield C. It is a cheap workhorse weapon and in the right hands absolutely capable of taking out entire servers, provided you are aware of its limitations and position yourself accordingly. Move up close against any other rifles and maintain a little bit of distance around shotguns. Remember, at close range with 2 shots to the upper chest, you will kill an enemy faster with the Winfield C than you will a Mosin, Karabiner or Labelle, so at least it has that going for it. So after you level up that Winnie C for a little bit, you will come across the Silencer variant, and as the name suggests, this drastically reduces the range that you can hear gunshots from this weapon from over 1,000 meters, which is the entire map, to only about 30 meters. Now the damage of the silenced version remains the same, so within 10 meters it's functionally the same in terms of killing hunters with 2 shots to the chest. However, the range drop off is much more extreme, to the point where over 34 meters even a headshot will not kill a full health hunter. It also has a significantly slower muzzle velocity of only 250 meters per second, so you do have to lead your shots very deliberately. With those differences in mind, is it any good? Well, for clearing the map, it's great. You can slaughter your way through grunts, hives, dogs with ease, clear water devils, and even ignite immolators from very far away. And when you get up close, the damage means that it can be used in a similar manner to the regular Winfield against bosses. You'll probably want a different weapon to kill meatheads or armored because they are quite resistant to bullets. Of course, taking a large slot weapon just because it excels at PvE might be foolish, so how does it fare against hunters? I'm going to put this one in the take it if you want a challenge category, because you are actively disadvantaging yourself when using this weapon. It is outclassed by almost every other weapon, including sidearms, once you pass the 20 meter mark to your target. And closer than that, it offers no advantage over a regular Winfield or shotgun, because your opponents can hear the shot at that distance anyway. Yes, you can do some sneaky things like blow up barrels or misdirect birds, ducks or dog cages, but in the end you're going to need some great headshot skills or blind luck to convert kills consistently with the Winnie C Silencer. The final variant of the Winnie C is the Marksman. This is identical to the base gun except for a small reduction in handling. In addition, you get the Marksman sight, which has a rather high magnification. Ultimately, the sights you use will be down to personal preference, but this sight will help you land more hits on more distant targets with slightly more ease. Just remember that with a headshot range of only 67 meters, almost any target within that range should be relatively easy to hit with iron sights anyway. So is this sight really necessary? Not for me, but if you really like scopes, that is fine and you can have a shot at using this weapon. My overall review of the Winnie C is as follows. They are cheap, effective, but not powerful, and they require a deft hand to make them compete with the later rifles. The Silencer stands out as more of a tool than a weapon in its own right, however it is very satisfying to land kills and headshots with regardless. I do not want to mislead any new viewers here. Objectively speaking, the Winfield 1873C is the worst rifle in Hunt Showdown, but if you like it, power to you because it can certainly do the job. Now let's talk about the Vetterli 71 Karabiner, and this medium ammo rifle is a step up from the Winnie C in almost every way. It is also unlocked extremely early at rank 6, so if you hate the Winnie, you can chuck it away nice and early. The Karabiner deals 130 to the chest up close. It can headshot up to 95 meters and has a slightly faster 410 meters per second muzzle velocity. It also packs higher penetration and limb damage. The trade-off here is that a higher price point of $105, it has only 7 rounds in the magazine, 20 in reserve, but the most significant drawback is a slightly lower rate of fire. You are essentially trading your spam potential for higher damage and range. This makes the Karabiner a fantastically versatile weapon that can kill up close in 2 hits to more or less any location, and it can compete in sniper duels with long ammo rifles, provided the enemy is not over 100 meters away. The Karabiner is a workhorse weapon that can be used in almost all situations, but remember that its range and limb damage are not so high that you can expect to down an enemy in 2 or even 3 hits if they are far away. You still need to aim for headshots as your default setting. So what about its unlockable variants? There is a Deadeye version of the Karabiner at $130, and it remains identical in terms of stats except for marginally lower handling. In return, you get a short-range scope. Like all sighted variants, whether this is good or not is ultimately down to personal preference. Now I love this sight on the Karabiner, because it helps me land those far-away headshots while not handicapping me in medium to close-range duels. That being said, if I'm running the Deadeye, I will usually take a close-range sidearm to keep me covered. Likewise, the more pricey $155 Bayonet Karabiner trades a negligible amount of handling stat for a far stronger heavy melee attack. This strong melee attack has an impressive range, and it will deal 112 damage to the upper chest, meaning you will still need to headshot to kill with it instantly on a full health hunter. It can take down armoreds in 2 hits, but it uses a large amount of stamina, so I would recommend only using it for hunters when the opportunity presents itself. Apart from the price increase, there is no real reason not to upgrade your Karabiner to this version if you can. Just pack some dusters for those immolators. With the Karabiner out of the way, we do have to talk about the final tier 1 rifle. At rank 26, the Sparks LRR becomes available, and at $130 it is a steal. While both the Winnie and the Karabiner are somewhat outclassed by the long ammo Lebel and Mosin later on, the Sparks is unique in that it doesn't matter how many ranks you have or how much money you've earned, this weapon will still see use. It is very strong, but it does have some glaring limitations. The Sparks rifle fires long ammo, and it can deal 149 damage to the chest up to, and I believe well beyond, 10 meters. It also has high limb and gut damage as well. This is the highest single damage shot in the game for a normal bullet, excluding special ammo of course, and it hits like a truck, meaning that even the smallest amount of damage from another source will down your target. If your target has already lost health, then it is game over for them. The Sparks can headshot up to 250 meters, beyond which seeing, let alone hitting a target, is almost unheard of. The round will travel at 533 meters per second, which whilst slow for long ammo, is still much faster than the other rifles we've looked at, and a lot faster than all of the sidearms. This is an extremely impressive gun in terms of range and damage, trumping both the Mosin and the Lebel in that regard. However, the Sparks does have a major drawback. It only fires a single shot before a 3-second reload, which can feel like an eternity. To overcome this, you can immediately switch to a sidearm, deal any amount of damage, and your target should drop dead. I encourage everyone to get used to the Sparks. It's a powerful, deadly weapon, but it does take some degree of practice to master, as each miss is pretty problematic for you given the reload. But what about its variants? Well, the Sparks Silencer at $150 is much like the Winnie Silencer, an active choice to put yourself at a disadvantage. It's a lot of fun, but being single shot makes it much worse at clearing AI than the Winnie Silencer, but how good is it against hunters? Well, the headshot range is still high-ish at 94 meters, but it's nothing like the normal Sparks variant. The issue is that your projectile velocity drops to 300 meters per second, so you will need a great deal of competence or luck to land shots on moving targets at that range. Of course, the upside is that if you do land your headshot, any surviving team members will have no clue where you are, giving you a chance to get off a few more shots as they mill about in panic, or best case scenario, crouch, stand still and take cover on the wrong side of a wall. The overall damage drop-off is very hurtful as well. You cannot rely on the Spark Silencer to bring enemies within one shot from death, but it is still pretty decent with 136 damage up close, provided you still hit in the upper chest. The last weapon we're going to look at in this video is the Spark Sniper. Again, some players for the higher $199 price point may prefer a weapon with an extremely high magnification scope. Otherwise, it's identical to the normal Sparks. This will make it considerably easier to drop players at long range, but it will place you at a significant disadvantage if you get pushed up close. This is made a lot more painful on those fog maps where you can barely see out to the effective range of the weapon. The main thing to remember with any Sparks weapon is to pair it with a pistol, so that you can get that instant follow-up when you land a chest shot. The stronger the pistol, the better, so the Pax or the uppercut are usually my go-to choices. All of the tier 1 rifles and their variants are viable and competitive, with the possible exception of those silenced weapons, which are a little bit more like a meme. Now, the Mosin and the Lebel are still going to outclass these guns on balance, however they can all hold their own, and the Sparks especially is able to compete, as hitting a shot and then hot swapping to a pistol actually gives you a faster time to kill than firing a second shot with the Mosin or Lebel. Hopefully this guide will help you see where these weapons sit within the meta, and maybe even inspire you to try out a gun that you've been maybe avoiding. Please feel free to rate this video or even subscribe if you want to see more from our channel. We also have a Discord and Patreon set up for those who would like to get in touch or support us further. Thank you so much for watching. This is Ascendance from 4FS Gaming.